Howdy, howdy do, Who fans, and welcome to the Big Blue Box podcast. My name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And welcome to episode 227.
Oh, yeah.
One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Our lives are different to anybody else's. That's the exciting thing. Nobody in the universe can do what we're doing.
I've reversed the polarity of the neutron flow, so the TARDIS should be free of the force field now.
You may be a doctor, but I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say.
The trouble with time travel is, one never seems to find the time.
Change, my dear, and it seems not a moment too soon.
Unlimited rice pudding, etc., etc.
I am the doctor!
For now, for this moment, I am the doctor again.
The ground beneath our feet is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And the entire planet is hurtling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. And I can feel it. We're falling through space, you and me.
People assume that time is a strict progression of cause to effect. But actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
I could be a curator. I'd be great at curating. I'd be the great curator. I could retire and do that.
I'm the doctor. I've lived for over 2,000 years, and not all of them were good. I've made many mistakes, and it's about time that I did something about that.
Bit of adrenaline, dash of outrage, and a hint of panic knitted my brain back together. I know exactly who I am. I'm the Doctor. Sorting out fair play throughout the universe.
Howdy do, Who fans. Hope you're well. You've all had a cracking week and that you've all managed to do something Doctor Who related in these quiet times.
Yes.
Very quiet.
Isn't it? Barren.
It is barren. Really quiet. So, welcome aboard the TARDIS. Welcome to episode 227. New listeners, we've had a few of them who have messaged us recently, waving. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello there.
Long-time listeners, hello, hello. Good to have you back, as always. All right.
How you doing?
Coming up in today's show, not a lot of news and merch. Well, there's no merch worthy of
Dalek
discussion.
Cat's got a week off.
Yeah, he's on a...
where's he gone?
On a plane somewhere.
Yeah.
And just imagine him sort of magnetised to the bottom of a plane as it's off somewhere.
Yeah.
Like photographs, like alien spotted, attached to a commercial plane.
Just dropping off and landing on some beach somewhere wearing a big old hat.
Yeah, massive sombrero and a little bikini on.
Dalek in a bikini. Oh, my word.
Oh, dear. Yes. So no merch to speak of this week, and one bit of news as well. So it's very, very quiet indeed.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes. But then we have got our review. We're back on Sarah Jane this week. The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith.
This got a phenomenal response on the Blue Box Twitter as well, which I'm pleased about, because I remember when we first decided to do, Torchwood and Sarah Jane as well, because for a long time we were just Doctor Who. We weren't sure, were we? We were like, but will people only listen to the Doctor Who ones? Do they want us to do Sarah Jane Torchwood? So I'm really pleased that listeners are on board and loving these episodes as much. It's really, it's really cool.
It is.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yes, and then we have, that's going to be it. So
that is it. Yeah, there's no more. There's no more.
I'm scraping the barrel. I'm trying to mentally think of anything. That's going to be it. But in the meantime, how have you been, my good friend? You've been all good?
Yes, I have been good. Yeah, I was hoping I'd get a little bit of Big Finish in this week, but I haven't managed to. I've still got I got the Fourth Doctor comic strip audios that they released last month. Yeah, I've had them sitting in my account for goodness knows. Well, for weeks. I keep thinking, right, I'm going to start them. And no, I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I hear they're really good. But yeah, so they're still sitting there waiting to be listened to. My book's still there that I bought last week, the the damaged goods book that I bought. It's sat on the side waiting to be read. I've just been really busy. A couple of nice things turned up in the post, though. Got a couple of nice... I know you don't collect these, but you know the Doctor Who figurine collection book?
Oh, yes.
Magazine. Yep. You get like a magazine with a figure on the front. I still get the ones that I like. I don't subscribe to or anything, but, you know, I get all the classic figures and stuff. So 2 arrived together, which is quite cool because normally they're released sort of every couple of weeks. So I got Syl, sat on his tank from Vengeance of Varos. He's pretty cool. I thought so my one, you can lift him off. He's sort of sat on a little chair on top of his bubbling tank. You can lift my one off, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. You can take him off, and you know. But apparently, it's just he's not supposed to come off. They just forgot to glue him on. Because I posted a picture on Facebook, and I was like, it's really cool. You can take him off his tank, and they're like, no, he's not meant to come off. I'm like, all right. So he's cool. But the one that's really, really struck me as being so much better than I imagined when I ordered it is Chief Clown figure.
Oh yeah,
from Greatest Show. So I mean, I love that story. So I thought it's great they're doing a little figurine of the Chief Clown. But when he arrived, he's just they've just done a really great job. They've sort of managed to make his outfit look all textured. It's sort of silver in it, you know, just like because these figures are very hit and miss. I think sometimes, you know, they're quite small. I mean, how big is it? A couple of inches. You know, they're quite small figures. So sometimes the detail, especially on the sort of human figures, they suffer from the same thing, you know, as some of the other companies that the human figures can suffer, especially the eyes. I've got a Delgado Master, which seems to be looking in totally the opposite directions. You know what I mean? It's just, they never seem to get the human figures that well. But this one looks amazing. He's probably one of the best figures they've done. So that was really nice. I've got put him straight on the shelf to gather some dust. So yeah, a couple of nice little figures arrived, but that's been pretty much it really. I've rearranged my Doctor Who shelf, put all my little figurines in order because I've got quite a few of them now. I've got quite a few of the Eagle Moss ones.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, as I said, I tend to pick and choose the ones I want rather than getting them all. But they've made for quite a nice little display actually. So I've put them all in order. I've got like a giant Zarbi one that they did a few months back, and I've got a First Doctor figure with his cane. And I've put him in front of it next to, they did like a special edition War Machine as well. So I've got those 3 figures together and they really do look good actually. I mean, for the price, they're really decent. So yeah, I've just been rearranging my shelf really and working and no boring stuff. No, I haven't watched any classic Doctor Who, which is sad. But we are doing a classic next week, aren't we? We've got a classic Doctor Who coming up next week. So that will rectify that.
A little bit of classic Who.
Yeah, a little bit of classic, and it's I'm looking forward to announcing which classic it is at the end of the show because I think people are going to like this one. Well, they're going to like the choice. Whether they like the story or not, it's a different matter. But I think they'll like the choice. Yeah. So that's been me, mate. What about you? What have you been up to?
I haven't really been. Well, I haven't done any merch stuff. I've slowed down over the last few months on picking up merch and so on. But I have chilled out and watched a couple of things.
Have you?
New and old, yeah. So I was in the mood for a bit of McCoy. At the weekend, so I shoved on The Curse of Fenric.
Oh, that's we haven't reviewed it. Yeah. We haven't reviewed it, I can't say.
Yeah, that's one I haven't watched in a while. I haven't seen that one in quite a while, so that's the only one, actually, that we haven't done.
It is. I know, I was about to say McCoy. What I thought of it, and I remembered it's the only McCoy we haven't reviewed, isn't it? Yeah.
That's almost a massive spoiler.
Yeah.
I won't say any more, but I was in the mood for it. I haven't seen it in ages.
Is it on the schedule? I'm just having a look.
No, it's not on schedule. Nope.
Oh, no.
We haven't got... Actually, that's a good point. Throughout the whole of 2019, we haven't got a single McCoy story because we've done them all, with the exception of Fenric. So,
yeah.
Sad times.
Oh, dear.
Unless we just do a massive reset, hit the huge reset button and go and do them all again.
Well, I see that, I was going to say, maybe I'm looking at this one here that I'm circling that you can see that the viewers can't. As we're doing one of those doctors, maybe we might swap it. I don't know. We'll have to look into that because, that's interesting. Or do you want to save it? Is it there waiting to be saved? Because it's that thing, isn't it? Once we've reviewed Curse, we've then got no McCoy to review. And it's always sad when we kind of finish off a doctor, isn't it?
It is really, yeah. And there is a little nugget of that. Yeah, there's a little bit of
sort of saving it.
Yeah, I don't want to do it just because that means in the similar vein to where are we? To the Eccleston era, which
that's it.
You know, that's also a sad. You know, I'm not going to do any more Eccleston stories, are we? So I'm just saving it. It's just sitting there lonely, but yeah, it's going to stay there for a bit longer.
I'm just looking. Yeah, I couldn't remember which Doctor. Of course, Eccleston. Yeah, we've done all of his, haven't we? Yeah, and Collins. Well, we don't. Colin's a conundrum, isn't he? Colin is a conundrum because we don't know what to do because we've done all of his, I think, apart from the Trial of the Time Lord series, which, although they're kind of standalone stories, they're kind of not. So we're not quite sure how we're going to do Trial of the Time Lord. I think you did come up with an idea, and I've forgotten what it was now. But anyway, at some point we'll get round to that.
Yes, we did have some thoughts on it, but it's very difficult to do. I
remember you came up with a really good way of doing it, and I've completely forgotten what it was. Anyway,
yeah, we'll put our heads together on that again, but that's going to be not sure on that one.
Yeah, but we've done all of Collins apart from that, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. And then I'm trying to balance it out as well because we've got quite a few of Tom's era left to do.
Yeah, well, Tom's era is so big, isn't it? We've
got the kind of inconsistent mess of the Troughton era with lots of missing stories or kind of audio only stories and all that lot to get through, which we are getting through. So yeah, it's and then there's lots of challenges in how we do this effectively without either boring the hell out of you guys or just longing it out. So. Yeah, I don't want to be talking about the same story for weeks and weeks on end, so I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so I watched Fenric. That was cool.
Yeah.
And then as we're on a bit of a Matt Smith vibe, after closing time, I went back and watched The 11th Hour.
Oh, really? Ah, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just because it's an absolute belter of a story.
It does stand up well, doesn't it?
Yes.
And we have reviewed it, so we can talk about it. No, I do. It does stand up well, I think. I haven't watched it for a while, but I know when I last watched it, it's a good
reviewed
one.
it. We haven't reviewed it.
What?
We haven't reviewed it, but we have done a commentary, which is as good as.
Oh, no.
So, but in the commentary...
that's that cat out the bag.
Yeah, well, in the commentary, we did say that how good it was and how great things were and all that stuff. So, you know, if listeners have listened to that before... They would know the vibe, but yes, we do need to review it properly. Yeah,
we ought to do some more commentaries. Actually, if any listeners out there have got anything they'd like us to do a commentary on, it's better if it's. I think the new series lends itself better to the commentaries, like a 45-minute episode, really. So it's just a sort of easy commentary to do. But we haven't done a commentary for a while, have we?
Not well, in ages.
In ages, yeah. Forgotten which ones we did, but yeah, that was one of them.
Yeah, they are really good fun. Actually, it's just finding the time, I suppose.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
to do it. Yeah, but that's what I've been up. Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, if anyone has got any suggestions, send them in, and by 2025, we've probably got around to doing it.
But they are good fun, though. If there's any stories that you guys particularly want us to do, the last one we did was we've only done 3. First one was 11th Hour, then we did Rose, then we did School Reunion.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So, I mean, if there are any stories that you guys that really want us to do commentary for, let us know, and we'll try and get it in.
And don't go suggesting the war games. Not that it's not a good story, because it is, but one parters are best. Not 10 parters. Yes. Yeah.
Or at the most, the cheeky little 2-parters from Classic Who. They're okay. But yeah. 2 at the most.
Yeah.
But no, that's all I've done, mate. Just chilled out and watched a bit of Who. Not done anything else, really. So, based on that, shall we land the TARDIS? And
do a bit of news.
So our only bit of news for this week is a really cool charity event where it's basically called CHAS, C-H-A-S, the Children's Hospices Across Scotland, also known as CHAS. I've launched a campaign asking everyone to get your geek on, quote unquote, for Geeky T-shirt weekend, which sounds very cool. So this is like the follow-up to a really cool event that happened in Edinburgh, Capital Sci-Fi Convention, which is a completely non-profit charity event up in Scotland. And as an offshoot of that, they want to sort of raise even more money by doing this Get Your Geek On sort of appeal, if you like. So coming up in May, so the 3rd of May on the Friday and Saturday the 4th of May, they want everybody to get their science fiction, fantasy, whatever you want to call it, all that genre stuff, into basically showing your love for all that stuff by wearing your favourite geek-inspired T-shirt. And they're doing a telephone line and a website where you can donate some more cash to the charity. But I think they just want to get it like this whole social. They want to get everybody wearing their geek T-shirts, talking about it on social media and so on, and getting the phone number and the website out there, so people can raise more money for this charity. So all you need to do is, as the name suggests, get your geeky T-shirt on either of those 2 days, and then they're asking for £2. So I'm assuming if you want to donate more than that, you're more than welcome to do so, but they're asking for £2, which you can do by calling this telephone number, which I'll put in our show notes. But just for reference, it is 0141 779 6180, or you can go to chas.org.uk/donate. And this all goes to schools and workplaces and community groups to help them, and there's a really nice photo of some of the pictures that came out of that event. A really nice one is Peter Capaldi giving a young fan in a wheelchair a big old hug and his lovely big smile, which looks really good.
He's an amazing ambassador, Capaldi, isn't he? I mean, I assume this is the event. It must be the one that he did just recently, where he was charging £30 for an autograph, £10 for kids, which I haven't seen anybody do for years, which is just amazing. And it was all went to charity, didn't take a penny. And I saw loads of photos and video clips of him on that day, just meeting fans. He was playing guitar at one point, just looked like he was having a blast. And the thing with Capaldi is, and we've spoke about this before, is he genuinely seems to be doing it for the right reasons. He's such an amazing ambassador. Do you know what I mean? He's not there for the money. He's not there because they've offered him great big sums. He's there to raise money, didn't take a penny. And also the thing of charging kids £10. I mean, come on, I wish more people would do that, because when we go to like LFCC and stuff, and I see the prices, and I think of kids that might want to meet, David Tennant or Matt Smith, and you sort of think, but £85 an autograph, you sort of think, So I just think Peter Capaldi is incredible, and I'm so glad that he's sort of brought this charity to the forefront, if you like, because I hadn't heard of any of this before. So yeah, it's a really good thing. And also, I love my geeky T-shirts. I don't know about you. I've got plenty of geeky T-shirts. So it's a really good charity. Yeah, it
is indeed. And Mr. Capaldi has gone on to say that he's seen firsthand what fan communities are capable of when they get together. And the Chaz cause is one I know they will want to get behind. Get your geeky T-shirt on to help the families this wonderful charity cares for. So Chaz, just to confirm, is a charity based up in Scotland, and they provide help for services in hospices for babies, children, and just generally young people with life-shortening conditions. So it helps those guys do all that stuff. So just to confirm, it is on Friday the 3rd of May and Saturday the 4th of May, both those days. Get your geeky T-shirt on, put it on Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff, and bung a couple of quid over. It's a good cause.
Sounds good.
Yes. And that's going to wrap for news and merch. We are very, very quiet on that stuff at the minute, so I reckon we'll just crack on with the review. What we got, mate?
I think so. So Sarah Jane Adventures this week, and this one is called The Temptation of Sarah Jane.
Soon, I will do battle once more with Sarah Jane Smith. She will return here, the one time and place that she cannot resist. And this time, the triumph shall be mine.
We saw the trickster in the future, but he hasn't manifested himself yet. That's about to happen here in 1951.
We're in an alternative timeline. Our world never existed.
The trickster walked through the Abbot's Gateway and sucked the life out of the world.
Too late! I'm growing stronger!
That theme gets stuck in your head.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right, The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith first went out on the 17th of November, and then the second part a week later on the 24th of November 2008.
Oh.
It was written by Gareth Roberts, directed by Graham Harper, and Gary Russell was the script overseer / editor at the time. It stars the usual Attic crew, and the plot, if you like, is Sarah Jane helps what she thinks is a stranded young lad who has come through the time fissure, and she helps him get back. And then when she takes him back home, she realizes that she's in the village that her parents, where she was born, and her parents have bring her up as a wee baby. What's it called? Foxgrove.
Foxgrove,
little village, yes. And as the name of the episode suggests, Sarah Jane is so keen and tries to hide it very well that she wants to go back through the time fissure to see her mum and dad in real life, because the story that's relayed to her was that her mum and dad abandoned her as a little baby. But so she wants to go back and see them and find out why they abandoned her and all the rest of it. But it's an elaborate trap. It's all been set up by the trickster, who knows that Sarah Jane would be tempted to go back. So he lures her back with the intention of her kind of unbeknownst to her, sabotaging her own future and the future of the Earth, basically. And as a result of that, the trickster can, absorb all the power and all that stuff. And so it's down really to Luke to try and keep a cool head on her and try and keep her level-headed, which she doesn't listen to at times, which I'll come on to in our review. And then the other guys, so Rani and Clyde, they're on the case as well, trying to deal with the Grask.
The Grask, yeah.
And it all culminates with, some very sad but, needed decisions on behalf of Sarah Jane's real parents, and everything gets put back to normal, and on we go. So often viewed as one of the best stories from Series 2. What do you think, buddy, on this one?
So, yeah, I think regular listeners will know that up until this point, we've both been really enjoying the Sarah Jane adventures. But this one, I think, might possibly be my favourite so far. I absolutely loved it from start to finish. I really, really did. I was in bits, actually, at the end. It really, really got me emotionally, even though I could see exactly where it was going to go and stuff. But no, I thought this was fantastic. Production-wise, performance-wise, story-wise. I just thought it was excellent. As I said, probably my favourite story so far. And I've loved a lot of the stories so far as well. So, yeah, it's a really good one, this. I can see why people rate it so highly. If I had one minor criticism, it's that I suppose the ending slightly reminded me a bit too much of Father's Day, in that they realise that to change the sort of to change things back to normal, that they've got to get in the car and die and all that sort of stuff. It did remind me a little bit of when Rose's dad, what's he called? Not Clive. Rose's dad.
Him.
Oh no, yeah, him. Rose's dad, when he gets Tyler. What's he called? Something Tyler. Anyway, when he realises he has to die, it kind of slightly reminded me a little bit too much of that.
Pete Tyler.
Pete Tyler. Yep. Good old Pete. But that's that's just one of those things. Overall though, I just absolutely loved it. Loved the location work in it. The whole time I kept thinking, where's this place? I must go there. I love the look of it. It looks absolutely fitted the story. I assume it's Wales somewhere, but I don't know where. Yeah, it was just brilliant. I thought Sarah Jane's such a strong lead in it as well. What did you think, bud?
Yes, I really, really liked this one.
Were you in bits at the end?
I was, mate. I was welling up and all sorts. Yeah.
Oh, it was a mess.
It's got
an absolute mess.
Yeah, it's got such a
I'm not afraid to say it.
No, not at all, mate. It's yeah, it's got a really, really good, a really nice story. You can see what's going to happen, especially as you get into sort of part of the way through episode 2. You can see what's coming. You know it's going to be heartbreaking, and but no, just overall, Liz Lane just has an amazing performance in this one. She's really good. She really knows how to pull the heartstrings. She's got a really, I don't know, every time she gets sad or cries, everyone else wants to cry, and you know and the supporting cast are really good, and just the overall story and script. It's just it's kind of a nice suspenseful story as well. There's stuff. It's not a soppy, if that makes sense. It's not all soppy and emotional throughout. There's a bit of suspense to it as well. There's with the trickster and all that stuff, and the Grask, and back through the time fissure towards like their normal timeline where it all when Sarah Jane messes with the car so her parents can't drive off, it sort of erupts through time. So when for Clyde and Rani, it's all the world changes and all that stuff, and there's a bit of a countdown going on to save the day. But no, it does pack an emotional wallop. It is a very strong story, and it's just great television as well. We said this before about Sarah Jane. Some of it's you wouldn't believe it's a kids show that went out on CBBC. It's just got a load of maturity packed in there, and it's got some, not this story in particular, but some of the other stories we've done have got some quite dark themes in there. It goes a little bit dark in some places. So yeah, it's just really, really good television overall. Really liked it.
When I was watching this, I couldn't help but I don't mean to be, I don't want to go down the Series 11 route, but I couldn't help but think this is how I kind of want Doctor Who to feel now. But it doesn't. It's got fun, it's got action, it's got heart, it's got soul, it's got a strong female lead. And I just kept thinking, this is kind of, it is a bit like the sort of David Tennant glory years of Doctor Who, if you like. Yeah. But it's kind of like, when we were talking, when Jodie was first announced and stuff, I was kind of hoping we'd be going back to this more family storytelling it's very accessible, it's very fun, it's got an emotional pack. It just has everything, really. It ticks all the boxes, and I just think they get so much right. And the other thing I kept thinking as well watching this is, I can't believe this has been sat on my shelf upstairs for so long unwatched. Do you know what I mean? I bought the Sarah Jane DVDs years ago with, thinking, I'll watch them because it's to do with Doctor Who, but they just sat there for years. And then we were saying, I'd watch the odd one or two. And then we were saying, well, we're going to start reviewing them on the podcast. And I sort of sat there thinking, God, what has taken me so long to find this brilliant series? Like, it's just been sat there just waiting for me to discover it. And I think, I kind of feel probably maybe a little bit like you with Doctor Who. I kind of feel like I wish I was there at the time. I wish I was there back in 2008 when people were going mad about this and watching it for the first time, if you know what I mean. It's like, like when you watch Doctor Who from the Matt Smith era, you're probably thinking, I wish I was there when David Tennant was the Doctor and seen all that. And, I just can't believe I've just not watched this series until now. I really sort of feel like I've not missed out, but I feel like I've nearly missed out, because I think if we hadn't started reviewing it, I wonder how long it would be sat up there next to K9, the TV series, as something I need to watch at some point. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's so good. I'm just so glad that we're doing this, because I feel like I've discovered another show that I just absolutely adore. And I think when we first started doing Sarah Jane, I know lots of people messaged us and said, Series 1's good, stick with it. It just keeps getting better and better. And I think so far that it's absolutely true. It just seems to get better, because the last one we reviewed, we absolutely loved, didn't we? The what was that called? The Berserker one, Mark of the Berserker. Oh yeah. I actually, by Joe Lidster. I actually tweeted Joe and said it's I think it's the first story where we couldn't find anything negative to say, because not that we want to find negative, but we do like to try and balance our review. We don't want to just be, we don't want to be everything is awesome. So we do try and find good and bad in everything to give a balanced review. And I said to Joe, it's the first time where we just literally couldn't find anything bad to say. So yeah, I just thought it was great. And seeing the trickster back as well, I thought was cool. He's such an excellent creation. I love the look of him, the evil cackle, the teeth. He's brilliant. And the Grask, when the Grask appeared, I was just like, oh, brilliant. Because obviously we went down the pub with him, didn't we, at LFC Spring. So it just had everything going for me. And it wasn't one of those where the first part was good and the second part was just okay. Both parts just held my attention all the way through. Just all the way through. Yeah.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. There wasn't any point where I reached for my phone and
not at all
wanted to jump on anything. Yeah, it just, I think because although it's in a way, because it is kind of predictable in a way, that doesn't really affect your sort of attention span as you're watching it. You know that something bad's going to happen towards the end for everything to become good. You kind of know that. The seeds sort of planted early because you have that conversation with Luke and Sarah Jane about, he's constantly reminding her, you always taught us that you can't change things in the past because it has an effect and all that stuff. And she's so wrapped up in the whole emotional aspect of seeing her parents and all that thing. She's not thinking straight. And it's Luke really that's the voice of reason. He's constantly reminding her and all that stuff. And so even though you know that something's coming, it still doesn't, because with some Who stories, you can see it a mile off what's going to happen. And so because of that, you kind of switch off a little bit in the middle part. It dips down, but then it sort of ramps up at the end when you know something's going to, like the reveal or whatever's going to happen. But with this one, it just doesn't detract at all. It's just really cool. Like it goes along at a decent pace. It doesn't. There's a couple of nice scenes where people are talking to each other, where there's no action going on, but that still doesn't. It doesn't slow down at all. It still goes along at a reasonable pace. Yeah, I know what you mean about the story as well, because it is one of those stories where it kind of can only go one way. So you're right. It in a sense, it is a bit predictable, because I was thinking at the start, well, obviously at some point they're going to have to get in the car, aren't they? That I don't see, I can't see any other way around this. So yeah, it is a little bit predictable. So you're kind of waiting for that moment. Yeah. But no, it didn't. That didn't ruin my enjoyment at all, any more than it did when I knew that Pete Tyler would have to, jump in front of that car and stuff. It's got to happen. But no, it didn't detract from it at all. I thought it was a really good story. I think because of the emotional attachment to Sarah Jane as well, I think that probably helps. I think if it's sort of been, I think this sort of story, it's sort of been done a little bit before. So if it wasn't Sarah Jane at the heart of it, that may have made it a little less engaging. And I think it's quite a brave move as well to do a backstory of such an iconic character, because you're kind of making that canon, aren't you? That's lore, and so we now know about her parents and that she was left in a pram and all that. And I think that's quite a brave move, because I don't know about you, but I'm not always that keen when you get such an iconic character when they start delving. Sometimes I like a bit of mystery. A bit like the Seventh Doctor, I sometimes like it when they don't give too much away. So the fact that we do learn so much about Sarah Jane's past, I'm thinking, okay, not sure I like this, but I do. I think it totally worked. Do you know what I mean? But if you'd have said to me before, we're going to learn about her parents and all that, I'm thinking, I don't know, because, we know a lot about Sarah Jane. Do we need to know about that? But I think it worked really, really well, to be honest. I didn't it didn't sort of ruin anything. I'm not sort of going to think, it's not like Cyberbrig, where, no, Cyberbrig's canon, isn't he? Whether you like it or not. But I hate it because it messes with, because it's Cyberbrig. Do you know what I mean? This didn't change anything to do with Sarah Jane character, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, don't mention Cyberbrig. Talking of Brig, I will actually, as we have mentioned Brig, I will just say at this point, very difficult for me not to press play on the next episode when I saw him in the Next Time trailer. Oh, for the unit stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So there was, so obviously at the end of this story, we get a Next Time trailer, and the Brig pops up in it, and I was like, I really, really wanted to watch the next one. I didn't. I held back because I just thought that's going to be an absolute treat. 'Cause it's the series finale, I think, isn't it? It must be the last one in series 2, the next story, I think. I assume it is. I assume we're getting to the end of series 2.
Enemy of the Bane, isn't it? Next one.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, you could be right there, mate. I think that's the end of series 2. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yep.
I think so. Yeah, I remember thinking on the DVD it was the last disc. So that's an absolute treat waiting to come. I can't wait for that story, just to see the Brig and Sarah Jane together again. Anyway, back to this story. As I said, look, you could say it's a bit predictable, but I think there's enough story and the script is great. I mean, Gareth Roberts, it's interesting because I didn't know he'd written this, and we did a Gareth Roberts story last week, Closing Time, and we said what a cracking, sparkling script it was. Maybe not the best story. I think in this one, he's got a really good story, and the script is brilliant. You know, there's some really funny moments in it. There's some really emotional moments in it. I mean, the funny moments, like when she's introducing themselves as Victoria and David Beckham and stuff like that, and you know, I was really laughing, and it made me feel so good by the time I finished the story. That's what I mean by I wish Doctor Who was like this now, because it just has that glow to it that I come away saying, oh, that was brilliant. Like, you know, I'm wiping tears away from my face because it's, you know, affected me, and it was just such a good feeling when I stopped watching this. I was like, that was brilliant. Yeah. What a cracking two-parter.
I know exactly what you mean as well about kind of wanting Doctor Who to have this feel about it. You know, it's that you and I were we've spoken about this at length, haven't we? We were talking earlier today that in the last year or so, it's kind of felt a little bit like Doctor Who has been hijacked by sort of political and other kind of what's the word? Yeah, it feels like the show has been used as a vehicle for other things rather than its own entertainment, you know, and it kind of feels a bit heavy at the moment with kind of socialist themes and almost sort of political direction and stuff. But it's sort of, I don't know, it just feels heavy the last, especially, you know, since Jodie was announced, because it was all light and, well, I know there was a lot of fan ups and downs and stuff when Jodie was announced, but you know, in terms of looking forward to new Doctor Who and all that stuff, it was all exciting and everything. But as the series 11 went on, it just, I don't know, the whole fandom of Doctor Who just feels really weighted and heavy in other areas that don't necessarily have anything to do with the storyline and the entertainment from the show. So this, though, I know exactly what you mean. It just feels like you're sucked into another world for an hour or so, and you're just purely entertained, and there's no.
For want of a better phrase, it reminds me of simpler times. It's just a nice story, but with plenty of emotional impact, and it's not trying to do anything. You know, it's not, like you said, it's not a vehicle for any agenda or anything like that. It's just and I kind of, but as I said, but at the heart of it is Sarah Jane, a really strong female character. So when I say I wish Doctor Who was like this now, before people groan and what I mean by that is she, you know, this is how it could be. You know, she could, you know, she's absolutely in control of the story, and yet she's, you know, I just, wow, yeah, I don't want to go too much down the Series 11 route, but it just, the whole time I was watching this, it just reminded me of all the good stuff that we had in the Tennant era with a strong female lead. And I was kind of thinking, you know, that's how I would love Doctor Who to be these days. Just escape, like I said, escapism.
Exactly,
you know?
Yeah.
And when she's like walking through the thing, holding the kid's hand, you just feel safe with Sarah Jane. You just, even though she's reckless and you know that she's going to, you know, disable the car and change history, even you can see that she can't resist it, but it's just at the end of the day, you know, she'll sort it. You know, she's almost like the mother figure, if you like. You know, she takes control, and I just love it. Just one thing I was going to say about the predictability, though, because we said, you know, in terms of the ending, a bit of predictability. One thing I didn't see coming was that evil little brat turning evil. The mini Adrian Mole that comes through the. So you know, she takes him back through the portal, and obviously he's like, you know, thank you. And then as soon as she's gone, he's like, did I do well? And he turns all evil. I didn't see that coming. I don't know if you did.
No, not at all. No,
I loved it. I was like, the little bleep. I thought that was brilliant.
A little Adrian Mole. That's what he looked like.
Did he? That's what it reminded me of.
It was a great twist, though. And it was, I can't decide if it was really good acting or really bad acting from the little, is it Oscar, Robert Madge?
Oscar. All I'll say is, good or bad, it made me smile. Because then when there was a bit where he come at the fate, where he's just sort of like rubbing his hands together, going
That's what I mean.
It did make me laugh. Yeah, probably not the best actor, but it did make me laugh. And also when he turned into the Grask, I didn't see that coming either. I was like, oh, the Grask is back. I really love it because I wondered what was going on when he started all shaking and blah, blah, blah. I was like, what's he doing? And then he turns into the Grask. I thought that was really cool as well. So we get a bit more. These characters become a bit more rounded in this. So the Grask, in the previous story he was in, he kind of just runs around playing almost a comedic role, doesn't he? In this, we start to feel sorry for the Grask. We think he's this evil little so and so that's doing all this stuff, but turns out he's being blackmailed and he just wants the little box. And so again, it gives it, we get this character that we've seen briefly before, but we get to know a little bit more about him. And I love the character of the Grask. I think he's clearly a bit evil, but you sort of feel a bit sorry for him at one point, don't you? When he's like, no, he tells the backstory of what the trickster did to him and all that. Right. Yeah. So I thought that was really, really cool as well.
Yeah, he is an evil little one, isn't he?
He's what's the guy's name? He's been a few, Jimmy V. He's been a few little monsters.
He's been in quite a few, yeah.
He was who was the blue guy? Mox of Balhoun. He was that guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was also. No, was he? Bana Kafalata?
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And he's R2-D2, of course, in the new Star Wars.
Of course, yeah.
In the new one.
The new one, yeah. Skovox Blitzer.
Oh, is he the Skovox Blitzer? That looks a blooming uncomfortable costume. Yeah. So he's been in a few Doctor Who's and so. But no, I just thought it was kind of cool to get to know him a little bit more rather than just being the token little baddie, if you like.
It was a cool little backstory, I suppose, because sometimes it's at times it's cool to put a bit of a motive towards some of these bad aliens, why they're doing it. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Did you like the way it pulled in strands from other stories as well? So we've seen the Trickster before, we've seen the Grask before, and also we got to see Maria again in a little flashback about the cube. So that was cool. I love the fact it just brought all these little elements together as well. We even get a little nod to the Doctor Who, to Doctor Who as well, don't we? Because Sarah Jane thinks she's in a police, but she thinks she's in the TARDIS at one point, and it's just a regular police box because obviously she's gone back in time. Now, I loved that scene, but I wish they could have found a better TARDIS prop because it looked like something out of a children's fairground. Right? It would have been so much better, that scene, if it had looked like a proper police box. It looked terrible. I think they show it on screen for the minimum amount of. It's on the screen for seconds. I paused it because I wanted to see what it looked like. It looked terrible, didn't it? That TARDIS prop. It's just such a shame. No. They must have had a better one in storage somewhere that they could have, even if it was an old, Eccleston one that they just sort of bashed up a little bit, or even if they'd made it look a bit dirty. But it looks so plasticky and brand new, and it's a shame really because it's a really lovely scene when she thinks she spotted the TARDIS. And then it turns out it's got a policeman in it and it's just a police box.
Yeah, because I was unsure. Because I know that the Doctor appears in a couple of Sarah Jane stories. Yeah. And then when she says that, and it all kind of slots in nicely, she's like, there's only one man in the universe that would know how to solve it. She turns the corner, and then they also use the music as well, the Doctor's theme. I heard
it. Yeah. Yes.
And you think, oh my God, is the Doctor's there? But then as soon as I saw the TARDIS, I was like, that's not going to be the Doctor at all, because like you said, it just looks really... I don't know. You can just tell that it's not the Doctor's TARDIS. It's not a very good prop. Sadly,
like
a light bluey color as well. It's not the darker blue.
It looks like it belongs on a fairground ride. Sadly, it's a shame because I'm sure they must have TARDIS props they could have used, which would have looked. Yeah, I mean, imagine if they'd used because the Doctor experience would have been there then, would it? I don't know. No, maybe not.
When was this? 2008. Was it?
8. I was just thinking. Imagine if she had turned the corner and you saw like McCoy's battered old TARDIS, the one that they put in the experience. They made it look fantastic, didn't they?
Yeah.
But imagine if you saw that. So it wouldn't look like the Doctor's, it wouldn't look like the Tennant box, but it would look like a proper police box. I mean, that would have been a fantastic scene, but I don't know. Perhaps they just couldn't do it. That's obviously the only way they could do it at the time. And it's not a big deal. I just love the scene so much. I was just a little disappointed in the prop itself. If only they'd phoned the Who shop, they could have used that one that she's got in the, the the invasion.
Wonder how much you would charge for that.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, moving on. It was a great scene, though. And I like you, I did wonder for a split second if the Doctor was going to pop up, because I haven't seen this series at all. So, and I know that he does pop up at some point. But yeah. I had the same thing. When I heard the music, I thought, oh, is he going to make a little... No.
What would have been... What would have added to the emotional heartbreak was, as they turn the corner, the TARDIS dematerializes and...
Oh yeah.
And goes off. That would have been like, oh no, you've missed each other. Yeah. It's a great scene though. I like it.
Or if John Coleshaw had popped out as John Pertwee. Now, madam.
It's a cool scene. Yeah. To go back to your point about the twist as well, I thought the little kid was going to turn into the trickster for some reason. We know when we had the reveal, like his evil little bratty little face and laugh comes out. I thought, oh, this the trickster disguised himself. But no, alas, it was the old Grask.
Yeah, it was good to have the two of them, though. I liked that. The other thing I liked about this was her parents as well. As I said, I wasn't too sure, should we really meet Sarah Jane's parents? Is that taken? But actually, I really liked the mum. Well, I liked them both, but I particularly liked Sarah Jane's mum in this because they made her a strong, clever character, which you can then relate that to Sarah Jane, can't you? You think, well, okay, that's where Sarah Jane gets it from. So I again, that all worked really well for me. I was like, the mum's figured it all out just like Sarah Jane would. So you can tell it's a mum, and the dad was fine as well, but clearly the mum was the one sussing it all out, really. Yeah. So that, again, in terms of storyline, I think worked really, really well.
It did. And I like the fact that her parents ended up being really, really just awesome parents. Yes. You can see that they love her to bits, and you can kind of see when towards the end of like the latter part of episode 2, you can kind of see where Sarah Jane gets her strength and her kind of she's got her wits about her, and she knows what's going on because her mum kind of pieces it together, doesn't she? And her mum's very strong-minded, and she knows exactly what she's got to do, even though she doesn't really want to do it. But so that's one thing that I took away from it. You can really see where Sarah Jane grows up to get that stuff from. It's from her mum. She's almost like a carbon copy in terms of her personality and her strength and stuff. So I thought that was really well. Again, to tribute to Gareth Roberts, really, not tribute, but a testament to his writing skills. That you could link those two characters together, even though they're not on screen for very long. You can absolutely see that that Sarah Jane gets all that stuff from her mum, and also her dad's got a bit of gumption about him as well.
He's got a bit of kick to him, isn't it?
Strong-minded character and stuff. And
well, I suppose what he's done is he's sat down and he's thought, well, what would Sarah Jane's parents be like? And I guess that's what he's come up with, and it absolutely works. I think. And it's nice. I'm glad she gets the payoff. I'm glad because again, this is another thing that, if it hadn't been written very well, wouldn't have worked for me. It's her meeting her parents and all that sort of stuff. But it did work for me. I think it's nice that she actually got to find out why she was left, and she got to see how cool her parents were, if you like, rather than just being this mystery. So again, that could have gone two ways, really, because it's quite nice to have that mystery of what her parents are like, and it gets answered in this. But I thought it worked really, really well. Yeah, because I loved it when she actually got to say to them, you're amazing, and I'm glad I've met you, and all that stuff. I thought that was just really, really done well.
Yeah. That whole end bit was just so. That's the bit the same as you, mate, that just had me blubbering like a.
I was gone. I was
welling
gone
up all over the shop. Yeah. It's and what was cool as well is it wasn't it wasn't written in a way that the story was all about that. It was just a really nice way to say it was just a nice little isolated pocket bit of story where Sarah Jane's never going to see her mum and dad again. It's not something that's going to be a recurring theme throughout the Sarah Jane adventures. It's just a nice, really nice little story pocket, if you like, that's, a one-time thing. And it doesn't hold back. That's what I liked about it. Because, it's kind of hard to explain, but we said a few times that it is a children's show. You know, it did go out in the afternoon on CBBC. So, and we've mentioned that it has some dark themes here and there and so on. But I can't imagine young kids, you know, sort of kind of 6 or 7 years old, who would sit there and really, realize just how, I don't know, like the emotional impact that has. I can see kids being like, you know, a bit teary about it and stuff, you know, but I can't see like young kids really understanding how important that scene is. But yet it does it anyway. So it doesn't hold back, you know, Sarah Jane's crying all over the place and her parents are crying, and it's just, it really is they didn't hold it back for the sake of the kiddies watching it. You know, we don't want to upset the kids or anything. They just go for it. Yeah,
it does feel like very much a family show, doesn't it?
Yes,
it's definitely got that. In terms of what I mean by that is, I think it's what you're saying. Is it gets the balance absolutely perfect between being able to appeal to young kids and adults. You know, like me and you. So I can imagine you as well, same as me, on the sofa bawling, and you can imagine the kids loving the trickster. And it's got something for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think. Yeah,
that's great. And also. The scenes leading up to that point. So we've got kind of diverged not timelines, but diverged story things going on. So it does the whole classic, you know, it separates people up. So you've got Luke and Sarah Jane gone through the time fissure and they're doing all that stuff. And then you've got Rani and Clyde.
Yeah.
That's very Doctor Who-ish to do that, isn't it? It's normally the Doctor gets separated from the companions and they go off and do their thing and then they meet at the end of the story. Do you think that formula works well here? I thought it worked really well for this.
I did as well. I think because of all the stuff with the Grask as well. And also you get the bit where Maria sees it. No, not Maria, sorry. Rani sees her mum, don't you? And all that stuff. So that brings in another storyline as well. It did really work for me. I love the effect actually when they, just before the world starts to disintegrate and go to pot, there's that bit where they're hiding behind the bins and the grass following him, and you assume he's just going to run past, and then all of a sudden the bins and everything start shooting out the way, and you're like, what's going on? I thought that was great. Yeah, because I was started thinking, whoa, what's happening here? Yeah, I do think those two sort of parallel worlds and storyline and all that did work quite well, actually. Yeah,
that is a good point, actually. I mean, in terms of like just pure visuals, it's one of those things where, and I think we've said this before as well, where sometimes, even with Doctor Who at the time when this was going out, the budget wasn't exactly kind of setting the world on fire. You know,
I wonder what sort of budget it got, because BBC, it's not going to have a massive budget, is it? I assume.
No.
But it production-wise, I think it looked really good for the time, and even I think it stands up pretty well. I think the vortex thingy looked good. The world when it's all, you know, the crumbling of the cathedral or whatever it was, it all looked really good. I think there was one dodgy bit of CGI. I thought, oh well, that's the. But overall, it did look pretty good, and I can't imagine they had the biggest budget.
I don't think so, but in my opinion, I mean, it's a really nice looking story.
Yeah.
Even just the cinematography when they're just out in the village and, you know, they're walking around, and when it sort of flashes back, and that whole scene where Clyde and Rani are in the alternative timeline where her mum's not really a mum anymore, and that's quite emotional as it is. And even that all looks really nice because they put like a grey filter over it. It all looks really bleak. And
they put like a filter over the, you know, when she goes back in time, they put like a sort of slightly sepia filter on that as well, because it kind of looked slightly filtered as well, but I couldn't work out if it was or not.
No, definitely, mate. It's they put this kind of sepia, like you said, like a orangey kind of.
That's it, to make it look older, and
And then in the present time and the alternate one, it all goes back to normal. But in the alternate one, they put like a grey filter over it to make it look like desolate and dystopian and all that look and feel. But so in terms of that, and also some of the effects when the trickster's coming through the archway, and like the rippling effect of him coming through and stuff, and also the scene where Luke and Sarah Jane go back through the fissure temporarily, and they're on the sort of the rubble of Westminster and Big Ben and all that stuff.
Now that did look really good, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff, I'm assuming is not cheap to do, but
it wouldn't have been, no.
Yeah, to me though, it looked It looked pretty good.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I thought, for the, these days they probably could do it better, but I thought that stood up really well, and I was quite impressed by that, to be honest with you. When you saw Big Ben and all smashed to bits, I thought, wow, that's pretty good for a CBBC show. I really did think that. I think I ought to give a little shout out to Graham Harper's great direction as well, because I hadn't clocked it was him when the first episode started. I didn't see his name come up. So I did think about halfway through, direction's really good at this as well. It's one of the notes I made. And then part 2 started, so I made a point of making sure I saw who the director was. Mm-hmm. And then, Graham Harper's name popped up, and I was like, oh, well, that says it all. Because, I mean, he is a great director, isn't he? So that was, I'm really glad that he was involved in this, because I think he does a great job bringing it to life. And all the shots of the village and stuff they were in, I thought looked great, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So very good job by Graham Harper.
Yeah, I mean, Graham Harper, crikey, like very diverse and long range, but somebody who directed The Caves of Androzani right through to The Waters of Mars. I mean, come on, that's some of the best Doctor Who.
I was going to say he's got a good CV as Graham Harper.
Utopia.
Utopia,
Turn Left, Stolen Earth, Journey's End, all that stuff. He's a very, very good, and this one is really good, because there are some scenes where there's no action going on and there's no need for big camera sweeps and all that dynamic editing and all that stuff, but he still makes it engaging. It still makes you want to continue watching. Absolutely. This is one story actually where you have to watch this back to back.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
If I can imagine that if you were watching this live back in 2008, it would have killed you.
Waiting for the next one.
Yeah. So this is sometimes it's okay if you want to leave it a day or two and watch the next one. We do that quite frequently, don't we, with Classic Who? We watch 2 parts, and then if it's a 4-parter, we'll do 2, and then a day later we'll do the other 2, whatever. But this one, no chance. You've got to watch these back to back.
Oh, I was the same. As soon as it ended, I was straight on to part 2. Yeah. No, there was none of, I might watch the other one after lunch or anything like that. I was straight into it. I just noticed you mentioned Turn Left there, and I did see something on Wikipedia about the trickster being something to do with Donna in Turn Left, which I've never picked up on. And Turn Left is a story I really like. So next time I watch that, I'm going to keep an eagle eye out for that. I don't think we see him or anything. I think maybe the Doctor mentions him. It says here something about the Doctor via Donna Noble in the episode. I don't know what that means, but so the tricksters, I think, gets a mention in Turn Left is what I think it's saying. But I've certainly never picked up on that before. But yeah, I'll be looking out for that next time.
Yeah, that's got something to do with something.
Yeah, something to do with something.
But yeah, that's definitely. I've seen the name mentioned before with Turn Left, but I don't know exactly what. It's only it's a tiny little.
A little mention
or reference, yeah. But let's talk about whiz through some characters actually. So we've got Rani's mum and dad. They make small appearance in it. She you see her play the alternate Geeta in the alternate timeline.
Yeah.
So she has no idea who Rani is. It's all very different and stuff, but she's quite good at sort of separating herself from her usual role in that, I thought. Because she's normally a really loving mum, isn't she? She's all over her. So,
but when she comes in at the end, she's back to being all bubbly again. I do find her a little over the top, actually. I think whereas all the rest of the cast seem to be taking it quite seriously, I do find that she's playing it as if she's in a kid's show. I do, but she's okay in the alternative universe bit.
Yes.
She's playing it more straight then. But yeah, I do find her when she comes in at the end, and I think it's because she speaks so fast and everything, and it's all a bit bubbly for me. I'm like, tone down the performance a little bit. But it's, again, I kind of like her in the same way, a bit in the same way as Oscar the Kid. It may not be the best acting that I've seen on screen, but it kind of works in its own way.
Yeah, it does. I mean, she seems a little bit sort of Morning Campers to me. She's got that. Right. Yeah, she's very
yeah.
I know what you mean. Yeah. But she's okay. And then her dad makes a very small appearance at the end. He's, nothing really to say about
not much
guys.
from him. No, not doing any press ups this week.
The little lad then, Oscar, Robert Madge. He's
Well, he's all right.
He's
Has he
all right.
gone on to do anything?
He's done a load of theatre work after this, but nothing to speak of really.
He's waiting for that second series of Adrian Mole.
But like I said earlier, I don't know if it's good or bad acting where the way he says, what is it? He says, now it's time to collect my prize or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The way he says it, it's very sort of Butlin's.
Act evil.
Yeah. He's not too bad. He does the part, I suppose.
Yeah.
Spoken about the Grask, Jimmy V. The Trickster then, Paul Mark Davis.
Really good.
He's a very creepy character.
Yeah.
The
I
voice
love the
as
look
well.
of it.
Yeah.
The voice, the evil cackle. Because sometimes when, if you're asked to do an evil cackle on cue, can be a bit over the top. But no, I think he's great. A great character, actually.
Does he do the voice as well? Does he do the voice of the Trickster?
Don't know.
I assume he does. But yeah, it's just that voice. Yeah. I will have just the way he really. I don't know. He's just got that classic monster voice about him.
Yeah,
just really
I assume
creepy.
it's his voice. Yeah, no, it does. It works brilliantly.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. Just having a look. Yeah, it doesn't say.
I assume it is them. Yeah,
yeah.
And the Trickster's a really good character because we don't know a lot about him, or it could be a woman. I don't know, but we don't know a lot about it, do we?
No, and also when the Trickster gets defeated at the end, when he's grabbing the church again, I suppose it's down to the great direction. It's really well done in it, the way he kind of holds onto the bars and sort of disappears from the feet upwards and stuff, almost into the sky. I thought I just really thought that was a really nice shot, that, and a great, rather than him just sort of screaming and exploding, or I just thought he's really sort of gone. I assume we don't see him again. I don't know. I'd be happy if he did pop up again, though. I wouldn't mind seeing the Trickster come back for a third time, but I don't know if we do.
Has he done any Big Finish, do you know?
Not that I know of.
Maybe. That would be a good one for Big Finish, because that voice would just scare the crap out of you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good character, though.
Yeah, I was just having a look on Wikipedia, but it doesn't tell me. Don't know.
Okay, and what about our attic? Is there anyone else? So of course, the parents, Sarah Jane's parents. I know we've mentioned them briefly, but very good performances, I thought.
I thought particularly Rosanna Lavelli as Barbara Smith, the mum. I thought she gave a great performance. Again, really taking it seriously, and just she totally got the character and everything. And I thought she gave a great performance. Eddie Smith, played by Christopher Pizzi. Again, nothing wrong with his performance, absolutely fine. But I didn't sort of warm to him in the same way as I did to the mum. He's just playing it as, I'm sure, he'd been directed to be a bit like, it's the 19, whatever it is. What was it? 19, whenever.
1950 something.
1950. So we're all a bit of a cheeky, chappy type lad, and he's sort of playing it like that, and that's all fine, and it worked well in the story. But I thought out of the two, though, I thought the Barbara character played by Rosanna was very strong in performance. Yeah.
No, I agree, mate. Definitely, she was a highlight for me.
Yeah. I really warmed to her. Really liked her.
Okay, and let's have a look. A really, really small cameo from Yasmin Page. Don't need to talk about that.
A little flashback, yeah.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Smith still gets his fanfare.
Oh, I know. He still gets I think they might have cut about a second out from it. I think they're slowly trimming it each episode, but he's still got that blimmin' fanfare. Yeah, but he's cool though. I like Mr. Smith. Yeah. What was the thing with the note at the end? I must admit, that went over my head. It sort of pans down to, I thought it was going to pan down to the photo of the parents, but it panned down to something and it said Mr. Smith on it. And I thought, I don't know if that's something to do with the next story. The very last shot.
Oh, that's...
I didn't know what that was.
I think that kind of alludes to the notes that their parents used to write to each other.
Ah, right. I need to go back and see it, because I must admit I didn't get what that was, but it says something about Mr. Smith anyway, didn't it?
Yeah.
And
So I think
you got to love Mr. Smith.
Yeah. So I think on the back of the photo, because in the story they say, "Oh, we still leave each other little notes and messages and stuff." I think that's a message from her mum to her. I think so anyway. That's how I read it. Yeah, because it's a really old photo of the two of them, and I think she must have wrote that to her husband.
because it says, Mr. Smith, I need you.
Yes.
So it's an old piece of paper.
And I think it's just a coincidence that that's what Sarah Jane says to the computer, Mr. Smith. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's nice.
It's nice. Yeah. Who else have we got? Okay. Yeah, we have like the Attic crew then. So Clyde and Rani, they spend a lot of time together in this one. He gets a little peck on the cheek.
He does.
Doesn't he?
Yeah. I think those two worked really well together, actually. It was, like you said, they kind of get separated, so they have their own little adventure in many ways. But yeah, they're good together, those two. I think Rani is quite a strong character, and so's Clyde. So I think, I'm not saying they struggled for screen time, because they didn't, but do you know what I mean? They're almost like you've got two very strong personalities there. But I thought they both were really good, and got some good one-liners from Clyde again. He's good at delivering the humour, I think. Because there's a bit where he's got to say, what was the bit that made me laugh? Is he trying to come up with... he's trying to get the portal open, and he's like going, open sesame. Something that, and then he goes, I know, Jumanji. And he's really good at scenes like that, Daniel Anthony. But two strong characters and good performances from both, I thought. Yes, and I also thought that there was a scene that kind of handled the early 50s racism as well. When she walks in, Rani legs it in, and she's like, "Yep, ethnic person in the 50s, aren't you?" That's it. It's comical enough to address it. Not that it needed addressing, but it was kind of lighthearted enough to recognise that was probably a thing back then. But it's not in your face like, oh my God, let's talk about Sarah Jane and racism for the next 20 years on Twitter. It's not that kind of all that stuff. So it was, a nice little touch. And also, acknowledgement. Yeah. And also Clyde, he's such a, when he's teasing Luke as well at the beginning, he's like, Lukey boy. And he's some Star Wars references as well. And he's a very cool character. Yeah, I like both of them. Yeah. Luke Smith in this one then. Well, I think finally we got a bit more meat on the bones with Luke. Because I think he's the character that has sort of suffered the worst, in terms of his character development. And he's such an interesting character there. We've said this, haven't we, that he seems to be getting lost in the background a little bit, because you've got Clyde who's funny, you've got Rani who's strong, and Luke kind of just sometimes seems to be there. But I think in this one he actually works really well, because he's paired up with Sarah Jane, so you get that mother and son relationship. He's really looking out for her as well, isn't he? He's really got her back throughout this whole story. So, tells her not to do the thing with the car, but she does it anyway. He tells her not to go through the portal, but she does it anyway. So I think actually, finally, we got to see some good stuff for Tommy Knight, Luke Smith. I think the writing was good for him. I love the scene, absolutely love the scene when the woman's like, guess how many gobstoppers are in the thing? You might win it. And of course he gets it straight away. And he says, well, you got to, work out the dimensions and all that. And I thought, because that's who his character is. So again, more development, reminding us of the fact that he's just a little bit different. So I actually thought this was a good story for Luke at last. Yeah. I did. Yeah. And that scene is actually quite funny. It is funny at the beginning, because the woman's face is almost disbelief. Yeah, she's like, "What?" Yeah, because she obviously knows the answer. Sarah's mum, Sarah Jane's mum. She knows the answer, and the way he explains it as well, just off the cuff, like everyone else should have been able to work normal. It out. Yeah. So we got those little moments, little character moments, but also the development of him and Sarah Jane as well was really nice. So we get another emotional bit at the end where he's like, I'm really fortunate I've got you as my mum. And it's all really nice. So the two of them together are developing throughout as the show progresses. But Luke, certainly, I agree with you, a little bit more meat on the bones, a little bit more authority as he's trying to get Sarah Jane to realise what she's doing and all that stuff. So I agree. A better story for him as a character. Definitely. Yeah. And then Elizabeth Sladen then just completely knocked it out of the park with this one. So she's superb. I mean, it is a lovely backstory for Sarah Jane, isn't it? And as I said, I think that could have gone two ways. I think sometimes it's dangerous to do backstories for iconic characters, you know what I mean? But I think it's a really good backstory for her, and she's absolutely takes the script and and goes with it. I just can't say anything other than how much I just think how brilliant she is. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
You just want to be with her, don't you?
Yeah.
You just want to be with her. When she goes to that portal, you want to go with her. It's there's something about Liz Sladen and the performance is just timeless, I think.
Yeah. No, it's definitely amazing. And the thing that I liked particularly about her performance in this one was she managed to, throughout the entire story, she really managed to have the script and what they were trying to accomplish as a story in her head, because we said in the last episode that there was that scene. What was the Sarah Jane Light one? It was the Berserker one, wasn't it? Yeah. So at the end, she turns up when they're down at the dock. She turns up and she's got so much confidence about her, that she's like, right, let's sort this out. And then she like entrusts Clyde to do it. And that's, we don't see that as much in this one. She's so much more vulnerable and emotionally kind of swept up with the whole idea of seeing her parents. And she keeps hold of that. There isn't any point where she slips back into journalist, modern day, I'm going to solve this, Sarah Jane. She's really vulnerable and emotional, and she keeps that going through pretty much it's only at the very beginning and at the very end, those last sort of minute or so, where she's kind of back to her normal self. But throughout the most part, she's really, really, it's almost like she's read the script 100 times and she knows exactly the tone and everything that they want to accomplish with the story. So, I mean, that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she absolutely gets it. I know what you mean. And I just was thinking about the scene at the beginning as well, when what I love about her is when I say you'd feel safe with Sarah Jane. So the bit at the start where the things opened up and the kids come through it and they take him back and she's like, go on, just step back through, you'll be back to your normal place, and the kid's scared and stuff. And at that point they're saying the portal could be dangerous, so they mustn't go near it, but the kid needs to go through it. She's like, go on, just slip back in, you'll be fine. And the kid's scared, so she just takes her and says, come on, come with me, without a second thought. She knows it could be dangerous for her, but she's like, come on. She takes his hand and takes it back in. You just think, there she is, just like taking risks, but she doesn't care because she's got to sort it out, and that's what I love. When I say she's a strong lead, that's what I mean. She's just, she'll just take control and do what needs to be done. And then, like you said, we see the vulnerable side of her parents. And then at the end, when she realizes she's got to fix the car, she just does it, doesn't she? It's a really tough decision for Sarah Jane because she's basically sending her parents to their death.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, doesn't Luke even say, you won't be able to do it? And she's like, and she does it, doesn't she? Because she knows she's got to. Yeah. She's so strong as a character, the way she's written, and Sarah and Liz Sladen gets that totally.
She does,
and she performs it to perfection. Yeah, yeah.
No, can't say any more about.
No, she's just
Sladen,
brilliant.
Really.
She's just brilliant.
And this one especially, it's just she really brings the emotional chops. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything else you want to mention, dude?
No, I was just laughing because I'm looking at my notes, and the only other note I got was I like the line "fate worse than death." I just thought that was a really cool little line from
fate worse than death.
It's a fate worse than death. Yeah, as in a fate,
yes,
not fate. Yeah, I just thought it was a lovely play on words. No, I think I'm done, mate. I just thought it was fantastic.
Okay, scores then. Scores and adores.
Scores on the dot.
Me to go first, I believe.
Yes, you first.
Yes. I am going to give this a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Okie dokie. I am also giving it a 9 out of 10.
Another 9.
Yes. Yeah.
9s all around.
I'm only really, it's near perfection. It's absolutely brilliant. Only really knocking off maybe for the police box, but that's a production thing. There's very little to criticize. Oh yeah, and the only other thing was that it did slightly remind me of Father's Day in terms of the ending having to be a reset. That's the only other reason I'm not giving it a 10, but really strong 9. Loved it.
Yeah, for the same reasons, mate. A really strong 9. Almost perfection is just I think that we could have had a little bit more with Clyde and Rani, but then I understand that you've only got 20 odd minutes each episode to work with. So with what they had to do, because I think the alternate timeline stuff was really interesting. That could have been explored a wee bit more, but that's a very, very small criticism. And
yeah, that's true, actually. It could have been.
yeah, the rest of it was really, really good. Really good. So 9s from us. What did our beautiful listeners think? We had a bunch of audio reviews in as well, which is awesome.
Hey, awesome.
Let's kick off with Callum Shepley.
The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith is a very good Sarah Jane Adventures story. I find it to be kind of one of the darker Sarah Jane Adventures stories, which kind of makes me wish it was a Torchwood story, to be honest. Like, I feel like this story was held back quite a lot, and I can just imagine what it would have been like for, like, if it was Captain Jack's parents and the Torchwood team trying to stop him from changing time, but then when time is changed, it's up to the Torchwood team to fix it. Like that, I just think that could have been a really good story, because sometimes you can see where this story could have been really dark and really good, but it kind of is held back because of it being a kids' show. I love the scene with the police box, though. I think that's just hilarious. And yeah, it's nice to see these little Doctor references. There's also, of course, a mention of Peladon as well, which I liked. So overall, I think I've got to give this story an 8 out of 10. I just wish it was a Torchwood story.
8 out of 10.
Very interesting. Yeah. I guess I can see how that would be an awesome Torchwood story with Jack. Yeah. I forgot about the Peladon reference.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, which is nice.
Nice though, yeah. Thank you very much, Callum. An 8 out of 10. This is our regular reviewer, the awesome Sammy from Down Under.
Sammy.
G'day, Gary and Adam. Sammy Satine here. So, The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith. What a long title. So, Sarah Jane goes back to meet her parents and uses the same name as a certain Spice Girl. The actors playing Sarah Jane's parents are okay. I also think the village is quite nice. The trickster is a real highlight of this, and he's an excellent villain. The Pantheon of Discord, which is his species, should actually appear as a villain in Doctor Who itself, whether it is the trickster or another of his kind. Seriously, get on it, Chibnall. I enjoy this story, but it isn't perfect. I give it 7 grass disguised as children out of 10. See ya.
Thank you very much,
7.
Sammy. Yeah,
7 out of 10. It does look nice where they filmed it, doesn't it? I noticed there was a pub there as well. I always love it if I see a location that I want to go to and there's a pub in the background. Try and find it.
For a split second, I thought it was the location of the Daemons. Just for a split second. It's really
it's got
similar.
that vibe, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Daemons and a bit like Android Invasion as well.
Yeah, with the monument in the thing with the cross on it. And the little, Anyways, let's move on. This is Matt Steele.
Hi, Gary and Adam. Matt Steele here again, who may or may not be a superhero. I'll let you decide. Hope you guys are well. So this is my review of The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith. Wow. I think this has got to be one of the best stories of Sarah Jane Adventures. I think the episode, really good. It touches on a few adult and dark concepts, sort of thing like morals and race, but handles them really well. Doesn't sort of shove it in your face. The main characters were excellent. I always thought they had a nice role to play. The supporting cast, for the most part, were really good, especially Sarah Jane's mum and dad. I thought they were really good. The visuals I thought was stunning, and 10 years later they still hold up as really good. The outstanding performance has to go to Liz Sladen, though. She is phenomenal in this story and makes it stand out as one of the best stories in Sarah Jane Adventures history, I think. The only criticism I would have would be the child actor who plays the human Grask wasn't overly convincing, but hamming it up. However, I love this story. I'm going to give this 9.5 meddling Grasks out of 10. Cheers, guys.
Awesome.
9.5.
Yeah. Only a superhero would say, maybe.
Yeah.
So it is.
Thank you very much, Matt. Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I agree with you as well. It's it's one of Elizabeth Sladen's best performances. Very, very good. And lastly, this is Mr. Luke Malloy.
Hello, Gary and Adam. It's Luke Malloy here again, and this week it's a Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith. What an episode this is. An absolute cracker from the Sarah Jane Adventures. Proper cements the trickster as not just one of the most bad guys in Sarah Jane Adventures, but in all of the Doctor Who universe. He's an absolute done. If the Doctor came up against him, I don't know how he does next series. Well, forget that. This is a great story for Sarah Jane. We've had a couple of stories before this where it's been about the companions. Now Sarah Jane takes centre stage, and it's a bit like Father's Day, except I think the Sarah Jane Adventures actually does it a little bit better. And everyone gets served well by the script. It's just a fantastic watch, a classic in the Sarah Jane Adventures. Got to give it 9 out of 10. Thanks again.
9.
Another 9, yes. It almost feels a little bit like a series finale, doesn't it, to me? It's such a... Because it's so centered around Sarah Jane. And I'm sort of thinking, so what have they saved for the last one? Which is why I'm quite excited about the
It does
story.
a little bit. It's got that kind of epic story about it, yeah. No, read you. Thank you very much, guys, for your audio clips. Very much appreciated. Always nice to play those out. Let's move over to Twitter. Sir Jake B says, one of the best Sarah Jane stories, in my opinion. The acting is superb, especially from Liz. 9 out of 10. Daniel Fox, gripping from start to finish. Love the narrative in this one, and the trickster is undoubtedly one of SJA's greatest villains. 8.5. Our writer Jordan Shortman, one of the best SJA episodes. The trickster is just an amazing villain. The scene where Sarah's parents work out who she is and then sacrifice themselves always leaves me a blubbering mess.
Yeah.
Well written and well acted. For me, it's one of the strongest eps of them all. James says, I love this one. SJ episodes with the trickster are some of my favourites. Rick Moran from the Doctor Who Appreciation Society says, absolutely outstanding piece of TV. Easily one of the best episodes of the series. I can only think of one better, so I'm going to give this 10 out of 10 anyway.
Oh.
Pirate Joshua says, short and sweet, masterpiece. Doctor Who Time and Space, one of the best stories in the SGA, gripping, emotional, and a worthy successor to the Trickster debut adventure.
Yes.
Leon Tukshina says, I really like the Trickster stories. It's so sad that we didn't get to see him as the finale of Series 5.
Oh, is he coming back for that?
Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. Team TARDIS just says, love it, exclamation mark. DWSSG says, lovely as ever, and Liz proves once more how brilliant an actress she is. Chubby123 says, a masterpiece, adored the chemistry between Sarah and her parents. The setting was wonderful, had me in tears having lost one of my own parents. 10 out of 10.
Oh.
Charles says, heartbreaking, we need to see the trickster in Doctor Who. Yeah. And Sarah Louise, the running Whovian, says, a beautiful storyline, perfectly delivered by Liz. Everyone can empathise with Sarah Jane, who faces a really emotional heart versus head dilemma. The trickster was creepy. The Beckhams line provided a little comedy, and it was a real tearjerker at the end. A resounding 10 out of 10.
Cheers, Sarah.
Very cool. And lastly, Spencer Shively says, from what I remember, this is a stellar episode, definitely one of the best. I'll give it a 9 out of 10.
9, all right.
Yes. Over on Facebook, we had a couple there. Joseph Howarth. It's so weird how I never noticed how similar this is to Father's Day in terms of plots. I do think SJ hadn't caused all the things that happen in this story when the story's resolution would have been solved quicker, but then I don't think we'd have a great story otherwise. I'd be lying when I say that this is a great story, very emotional, and the last scene is a real tearjerker. The trickster just proves he's a great villain and proves getting better and better. I know he's not someone from your childhood, but I did kick out of Christopher Pisey playing Sarah Jane's dad, Eddie, when I know him as Stephen on the Basil Brush show.
Oh, really?
Well, there you go. That's a name I've not heard in donkey's years, Joseph. The Basil Brush show. Yes. Anyway, good job. A 9 out of 10. And Miles McKenzie, what a gem of a story. Great backstory for Sarah Jane. An amazing plot executed perfectly. It really tugs at the heartstrings with Sarah Jane needing to fix the car at the end. A great return for the trickster. They managed to make him a memorable and favourable villain from the series. And I'd love to see him in Doctor Who someday. Although now I feel that chance is gone. That chance is gone after RTD's departure. But great acting from everyone. Great story. One of my favourites. Another 9 out of 10.
9. Excellent.
Really high scores for this one. Unsurprisingly. It's a great story.
Yes, it is.
Next week, it's classic Doctor Who. What have we got next week, buddy?
So next week, yes, recently released, the Macra Terror next week. We're going to review
the lobsters.
Yeah, crabs.
Or the crabs. Yeah, sorry, the crabs.
Lobster. Well, I don't know what they are.
The claw things.
Yeah. So Macra Terror next week. That should be interesting. We haven't done because it's all animation. This one, isn't it? It's not a mix of bits and bobs. All animation.
All animation. Yeah. So those of you that have picked this up recently, give that a watch or another watch, because as usual, we'll be asking for your thoughts, etc., etc. And I think we'll do there, buddy, for 227.
All righty.
Thank you for sticking with us through episode 227. It's great to have you on board. Even in these quiet times where there's not much going on, it's great to talk through what there is, and also our reviews, the Sarah Jane Adventures this week. The Temptation of Sarah Jane Smith, a belter of an episode. Those of you that have not seen any Sarah Jane yet, Adam and I very much encourage you to go and pick them up. They're really, really good. Very, very good.
Really fun.
Yes. Next week, for 228, we're reviewing the Macra Terror, the Troughton story, the animated, newly released story, so get that watched if you've picked that up. That'd be a good one to talk through. We've not done an animated one yet, so that'd be good.
We might have done Sharda. I was thinking we hadn't done one. Did we do Sharda?
No, we haven't done Sharda, no.
We haven't done Sharda.
No. In the meantime, though, head over to our website, bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. You can listen to all of our episodes on there. The whole lot is there, right back to episode 1. There are also big buttons there to link off to the various podcast networks, the big one being iTunes. If you're an iTunes listener, if you could spare a minute for a review and a rating, that would be amazing because it helps us out lots. There's also social media buttons there. Give us a like and a follow. We chat plenty of Doctor Who. And check out my co-host's channel over on YouTube, The Geek's Handbag.
Yes, The Geek's Handbag.
Just do a search for The Geek's Handbag. Loads of really cool videos and some videos coming up every week throughout April.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And Adam's also on all the social networks under the same name. Just give him a like and a follow. Come and chat with us. Chat lots of Doctor Who during the week. Until next week, for 228, my name's Gary.
My name's Adam.
And remember...